EP Magazine presents Layla Tamimi and her uplifting story, from suffering a debilitating paralysis and stroke to graduating this past January with honors from Montclair State University. In addition, we focus on vision, hearing, speech, and how these impact the development and education of people with special needs. Read it today at www.epmagazine.com.
Oscar Mike Radio is a proud podcast partner of Reach Across America Radio, heard every Thursday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern. They're also big supporters of the nonprofit I Got Your Six, Two Lives at Once. And with every wreath you sponsor through Oscar Mike Radio, $5 goes back to this great organization dedicated to making a difference in the lives of veterans, law enforcement, firefighters, and first responders battling PTSD. Two Lives at Once pairs these brave men and women together with dogs rescued from kill shelters. In this way, two lives are saved at the same time by saving each other. Donate now. Go to reachacrossamerica.org/Oscar Mike Radio to help. That's reachacrossamerica.org/Oscar Mike Radio.
Suicide is preventable, and each of us has a role to play in suicide prevention.
Suicide is complex. There is no single cause.
And it's not always a mental health issue. It could be loss of a job or home, financial or relationship issues, pain, or leaving the military.
Suicide does not discriminate. It affects all ages, races, and genders, veterans or not.
If you know a veteran who is struggling, connect with them. Let them know help is available.
There is quick and easy access to services in times of crisis.
Dial 988, then press 1. Talking about it is okay.
Don't keep it inside. Don't be ashamed. Don't wait. Reach out.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Hey, welcome back to Oscar Mike Radio special. We're counting down to number 400 in June. This is the week of May 18th, where Patriots Fest launch. We talked to Brandon Hart. Now we're talking to Austin Edwards. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Anna from Core PR, for helping make this happen. Exciting time. So this is part of the podcast, but it's like a bonus. So thank you for helping me count down to number 400. This is Memorial Day weekend month. We remember those who are lost to us. And I am all over Patriots Fest because Ted Nugent, huge lineup, Matt Pinfield, Austin Edwards. Austin, welcome to Oscar Mike Radio.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, man.
Thank you for C2 Records, too. C2 Records is putting this whole thing on and putting everything together. It's just, it's awesome. It's awesome to work with these guys. They're a great group of guys.
So we can start anywhere we want, but it's kind of cool. Like when I started, when Dawn and Anna approached me and they told me about this, I'm like, whoa, how cool is this where there's like a festival where you can be like proud to be an American? I know it seems like every time you turn on the radio or the TV or cable news, it's just America sucks and we're terrible and we stink. But I'm like, what a breath of fresh air to have a place put together where we can all be proud to be Americans. It seems kind of weird now, but it's really needed, I think.
It's sad that being proud of this country and proud of the people in this country has become taboo.
It really is.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, when the minute they said Patriots Fest, I'm like, okay, I'm in. What do we got to do? Who can I talk to? And then, I'm starting to read about you and that you're an Air Force veteran. I don't hold that against you.
It's okay. I
Um,
appreciate that. I mean,
well,
we'll give you a ride anywhere you need to go, buddy.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm more concerned about close air support and that they got to keep the A-10 somehow. All right, let's do that. But
Right.
you got an interesting story where you got generational service in your town, and then you served our country, and then now you're in music, man. I don't know. Let's just start with the easy stuff. What was it like growing up in the true Midwest in Illinois and then going into the Air Force?
Well, I grew up in a town. It was a small town back when I grew up in it. It was called Effingham, Illinois, which um, was just a very, very easygoing farming community, right? And that was like the biggest town in the area of all the farms. And I went to high school there, graduated high school in Effingham. But so growing up there, I obviously I didn't know any different. So growing up in a small town, this is all you know. So you have nothing to compare it to. I loved growing up in small town America. I loved the camaraderie of the people. I loved the very essence of what America stood for is what you find in these small towns, right?
Right.
Because they don't have anybody else but each other to rely on, and they don't have big booming business. They don't have corporations everywhere, skyscrapers. All they have is each other, and that's really the essence of the American pride in people, right? Is loving each other, taking care of each other, and that's how I grew up. And multiple generations of military veterans in my family. When I graduated high school, I decided back in 1993 that I'm gonna go in the military.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was actually going to join the Marine Corps, and so my so my great grandfather was like the old Army Air Corps, if you remember that.
Right.
Not that you remember that, you're that old, but how old are you?
I'm old enough to know
Yeah,
that, it's not the years, it's the miles.
yeah. All right, I understand.
I joined the Marine Corps in 95 to give you an idea.
Okay, so were you 18?
No, I was
We'll
not.
do
I was,
we'll do reverse math.
I'm 51. I joined it when I was
Okay,
22 years old, I think. Yeah.
okay. So I'm 48, so you don't have that many more miles on me, brother. But so I was actually going to join the Marine Corps, and I had generations of Army. Um, I had one, two, three generations of Army and one Air Force. My uncle was a Chief Master Sergeant, First Sergeant in the Air Force, and so when I told my father that I was going to join the military and I was going to join the Marine Corps, and he said, "The hell you are," And I said, "Well, Dad, I watch all these movies and I want to go be Marine Corps. Like that's Semper Fi, right?" So he was like, I'd rather see something different for you. So he put me in touch with my uncle, who at that time was a chief master sergeant, first sergeant, which is an E9 in the Air Force. And he was like, "Listen, at the end of the day, you got to do what your heart tells you." He goes, "But I can tell you this." He goes, I've been in the Air Force for over 20 years now, and there's not a single member of any other service that hasn't told me, "God, I wish I would have joined the Air Force." Right? So I quickly learned that the Air Force has steak dinners.
Couldn't believe it.
Why? While you guys were all in the tents and half shelters in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, Air Force had hotels. So, yeah, that's how I started off with the Air Force. I was talked into that by my uncle, and I knew that I wanted to always I wanted to be a policeman. So, um, I knew that the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Army at that time back in '93, they all went to Lackland Air Force Base to do MP training through the 343rd Technical Training Squadron. So I was like, well, we're all getting the same training anyway at that point, right? So I might as well go Air Force. So I went Air Force, and I'm glad I did. I loved the Air Force. It was amazing. But um, I got out of the military, and as a lot of guys do, you go back home, and all of a sudden you don't have the camaraderie, you don't have the structure, you
Right,
don't,
right.
you know, it's easy to wear the same uniform every day. You know, as much as we bitched and complained about having to iron our stuff every
Oh,
day, you know, it was certainly easy to get up and know what you're wearing that day, right? And then you join the corporate world or the blue collar world after that, and you're just like, I got to put clothes. Like it was literally a culture shock that you had to actually put your outfit together for the next day, what you were going to wear, you know. So jeans and t-shirt.
and Austin, I don't know how women do it because it's not just like I can wear a black pair of pants and a white shirt or a blue shirt.
Right,
The shoes, the socks, the shirt, the everything has to match and be coordinated.
right,
It's crazy.
right. Well, green and brown and grays, they all go together. You know
Right.
what I mean? So after, I guess maybe after a while of getting tired of picking out my own clothes, I decided to become a policeman. So I could get back into the uniform. But no, after that, I was blessed with an opportunity to get into law enforcement, and I've never looked back. I've always held that small town pride. After a while, I relocated to the west side of Chicago, northwest side of Chicago, and I spent many years as a homicide investigations detective on the west side, and I never looked back.
So
So
you're doing all this. You go from, and look, if you grew up in the same, I don't know where Effingham is compared to Smithfield. I didn't look that up, but look, it was corn. Depending upon what the farmers were doing, it was either corn, soybeans, or wheat. Hay bales in the summertime and all
mhm.
that stuff, right? Small towns, and you're right. To Air Force, but where's the guitar and the music come from? Because it's like you've been doing this a while.
Couple minutes, yeah. So when I was younger, my father was in Vietnam. He picked up the guitar over in Vietnam, and he he found his guitar to be a release for him in the middle of the war. And he came back home. He kept that music alive. Um, Ultimately, when he and my mother met, she was just a piano player, and she also sang. So my dad sang, and my dad played guitar, and it was pretty much a match made in heaven there for them. But when I came along in 1975, if the calendar goes back that far, uh, the I came along into a family of music, and my father was also a policeman, and so there were a lot of nights where him and a few of his law enforcement buddies would come over, and they'd have a couple beer and have a guitar, and my mom would jump on the piano, and everybody would sing together, and that was pretty much normal regular life for me, right?
Well,
And
Austin, hey man, there wasn't any like iTunes or Spotify back then. If
no,
a lot of time, if but whoa, you had to actually like play your own music to hear stuff.
it's weird, right?
Right.
You didn't even have a computer that you could make your own beats.
Nothing. It was, so it was like truly like a musical family.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
What was
And
it?
so,
It had to be cool, man, having your mom and your dad play together with you and watch that growing up though, because I don't see that anymore.
well, I got to see that with my mom and dad until I was about six and a half,
Yeah.
going into my seventh birthday. Um, we found out that my mom had pancreatic cancer,
Oh man.
and so music became something completely different. Music wasn't something that you would listen to and just enjoy. Music became a release. And prior to her passing away, um, there were times that they would just sit and play music together and sing together and harmonize together. And I would just sit on the couch, and at 6 years old, you don't recognize what's about to happen. You know that mom is sick. You've been told that mom isn't going to be here forever, right? You've been told to pray, and you've been told to hold on to every single memory that you can, but it doesn't really register, right?
Right.
But I remember so many times just sitting on the couch and listening to them play and sing and just hoping that that would really never end. But in 1982, it did. In 1982, my mom finally, she lost that fight. And
And music filled that void then, right? Didn't it?
well, music died with my mom.
Yeah.
And suddenly what used to be a house full of music and joy and laughter became a house of sadness, emptiness, quiet. And my dad would pick up that guitar. He used to play this 12-string guitar that sounded amazing, and he could start playing until he'd get to a point where him and my mom would harmonize when they sang together. And then he would just stop playing and look down, and I'll never forget. I'll never forget one time my dad was playing, and he started playing this song that my mom and him used to sing together all the time, and he stopped and he looked down, and I saw the tear fall from his eyes, and it landed on his guitar. And at the top of a guitar, it's kind of curved like this, right? So it kind of rolls around. And I remember watching that tear hit the top of the guitar and just slowly start to fall down the top of the guitar. And I was very young. I was very young. I'm 6 and 7 years old at that point, right? So, but I remember watching that tear like vividly. I still remember that tear. And as it fell down the guitar, it went more and more and more. And obviously, the more it falls, it starts to dissipate and there's less water, right? Because it's leaving water in the trail behind it. And all of that water to me at that moment at 6 years old, it meant something, that the pain out of that tear was actually going into my dad's guitar, right? I know it sounds crazy, but I felt that. And I knew right then when that tear fell that I was going to play guitar too, that I was going to be a musical guy too, just like my mom and dad were. So that Christmas, my dad had asked me what I wanted, and I told him I wanted a guitar and a piano so that I would have parts of him and mom the rest of my life. And I could keep them both alive in music through what I could learn and do. And my dad was a policeman. He couldn't afford to buy me a guitar and piano. He went out and got a part-time job, and sure as shit, that Christmas, I got my first guitar and first piano, and I still have them to this day.
Get out, dude.
And that was the Christmas of 1982. And he used to put us to bed and walk down the hallway and close his door to the bedroom, and I would hear that guitar case open up, and I'd hear that guitar come out, and I'd hear him start playing. And I didn't know how to play guitar yet. I just because you have one doesn't mean that you can play, right?
Right.
So I used to sneak down the hallway when dad was just playing the guitar, and I would try to find the notes on my guitar. I couldn't play a chord yet, but I could find the note. And one night he heard me and came to the door because I screwed up. I hit the wrong note. And he was like, what the hell? Where'd that come from? Right. So he comes over and opens the door, and there I'm sitting on the hallway floor, and he looks at me. He's like, what in the hell are you doing? I'm like, I'm trying to learn guitar, Daddy. And he's like, why? Why now at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning? And I just started crying. And I'm like, because we don't have music in the house anymore. And you need a new singing partner. And so we both cried. He called me off of school that day. He called off of work that day. He taught me 4 chords, which was the first 4 chords I ever learned. and it was to a song called Country Roads. And that was the first song that I ever learned how to play on the guitar. And for 20 years of me doing music professionally, I don't care where I'm at, how big or little the show is, we close out every show with Country Roads, their version, my mom and dad's version. And so, yeah, that became part of my life because of what I experienced and what it meant to me. But it all started from pain falling out of my dad's eyes onto a guitar.
So you kept this going doing your Air Force career, your law enforcement career, and now does it still ever has a feeling ever dissipated, that feeling of pain, or is that there in the undercurrent of your music regardless of what you're doing?
In terms of why I play music is because
Yeah.
of pain.
Yeah.
It doesn't, me playing music doesn't necessarily relate to the pain. The pain that I saw fall from my father's eyes going into that instrument, that's what holds me, right? It was the fact that you can pour yourself into a musical instrument, into a song, and that song just might take somebody else on a journey that they need to go on, right? But so many musicians try to write a song based upon what they think everybody else wants to hear. They write a song based upon what they think the radio is going to play for them, right? I don't care. I don't care if the radio never plays my music. I really don't. They have, and I'm thankful for that. I'm very blessed that they have. But that's not why I write. That's not why I perform. I perform because of something that I've been through, or a feeling that I have, or somebody close to me has experienced, and I've seen the detriment of what they are experiencing in their own life. And sometimes I see the positivity that they experience because of something, and I'll write about that. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's just pain. What it means is the fact that you can flow your emotion through your music. Your guitar will soak in whatever emotion that you have in that moment when you write a song. And you'll have a fast song, a slow song, a sad song, a happy song, a rocking song, right? It all depends on how you feel. If you're terribly sad, you are not going to write an awesome rocking happy tune. That's just not going to come out of you. What's going to come out of you is your emotion, your feeling. So I don't hold it to just pain and sad. I just hold it to emotion, my feelings. I let my heart dictate what comes out of that instrument, and then ultimately will dictate the lyrics of a song, right? And the journey that we get to go on in it.
You're doing this journey for Patriots Fest. I'm kind of curious then, how did you get connected with, Patriots Fest and getting on the ticket? It's a pretty heavy card of people that are, you know, going to be there. And it seems like the first one, I'm trying to find out more about it, but it seems like this is a it's like a better, I hate to have to say this, a new idea that we come together as patriots to celebrate America. But how did you get involved?
So I was very blessed back in 2020. I had received a couple phone calls about being a contestant on America's Got Talent, and being a policeman full time. I was like, there's no way that I can pull this off. You know what I mean? I can't leave my job and go play guitar at America's Got Talent and ultimately probably be laughed off stage compared to the other talent that they have there. And it wasn't really something I was interested in. And that happened for a couple years. And then in 2020, I was blessed with the opportunity to go back on again. And I had called my brother, who's also a policeman, and I called him and I said, man, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do America's Got Talent. He goes, you bitch to me all the time that you never get a break in music. For 3 years now, you've had a break in music that you just keep saying no to. He goes, I don't want to hear you anymore. Stop calling me about it. Right. So I started thinking about that. I was like, you know what? You're right. I got blessed with the opportunity to do it. You know, God's plan's better than my plan, right? So I'm going to go with this. So I gave her a shot. And I auditioned. I made the audition. And during that process, I had met a guy at a show on the local circuit who just lost his wife to cancer, and his son was 6 years old, and he was a musician, and he was a policeman. And I literally, and his goal was to be on America's Got Talent. He wanted, like, he's always wanted to have that. And here I am sitting with the opportunity already. Like, I already made it. I was ready to go. I was going to the auditions. But I looked at his situation as my situation as I was 6. And I looked at his son being 6 years old, and that was me at 6 years old, sad, hoping somebody would give my daddy a chance, right? And he was a really good musician. His name was Joey Carr. And so I called America's Got Talent. And I said, hey, listen, look at this guy. Look this guy up. He auditioned. You guys told him no. And they said, he's good, but we already chose one person out of Chicagoland, and we can't give it to him. And I said, if I withdraw, would you choose him? And they go, yeah, if you weren't in the mix, we would probably choose him. And I said, okay, I withdraw. And so I got a phone call from one of the executive producers, and they go, why in the hell would you give up $1 million opportunity for somebody that you barely know? And I told him the story. I told him what his 6-year-old son is to me when I was 6. And I remember, God, I wish somebody would give my dad an opportunity. I wish somebody would give my dad a chance. I wish our lives would be improved, right? He never got that. So I gave my spot for him. So a couple days later, I got a phone call. They said, okay, here's the deal. What if you guys both come together as one group, one act, and then we can take you both?
Whoa.
And so we called Joey Carr and we asked him if he'd be interested in coming together. And the answer was ultimately yes. And we went on the show. And the next thing you know, we walk off America's Got Talent in first runner-up position, second place. And just unbelievable blessing, right? And because of that, I had started touring around the country quite a bit, and got to know some people who ultimately spoke with the CEO of C2 Records, and he was talking about, you know, the patriots of music nowadays, and people that can sing songs about what they truly believe in this country, you know. And me being a policeman, my uniform stops me from speaking my mind. I can't speak my mind in uniform.
Right.
Not with that, right? There are many things that I would love to say while I'm in uniform that I can't say, because this uniform, I represent the uniform. I don't represent my own personal beliefs. I represent law and order, right and wrong, right? So as a musician, I don't have that same, let's say, restriction. I don't have the same restriction. And so I had wrote a song called American Song. And one of the promoters for the show knew that song, and he showed the CEO of C2 Records this song, and he goes, listen to this song, American Song. And next thing you know, my phone rang. It was the CEO of C2 Records, and he's like, would you be interested in playing this festival with us? And I was absolutely honored to receive that phone call, and I said, absolutely, I will. So long story long, that's how that happened.
Yeah, but what a cool story. I mean, in a way, it's kind of like American, you know. It's a very American story where and somebody sees somebody else, and you know, not to over dramatize it, but it's kind of like the Sullivan brothers going off, all 5 of them together, and you know, that vein where, you know, you lost something and somebody else lost something, but you can let that other person gain a little bit of it back. It was, again, it was Anna and Don told me about it. I started looking it up, and like we talked about, my first reaction was, well, this seems really like cool and out there. And then I got really sad thinking, you know, I'm kind of like embarrassed because I'm happy that I'm an American. It's just a really weird time. And then I looked at the people that are being supported out of this, the veterans groups, first responder groups, and the other people getting support out of this. Do you think there's a need that people really want to have the space and time to feel that pride again, and then know that their drink money, their t-shirt money, and all that stuff is going to help somebody else? You think we're starting for that in this day and age, Austin?
I tell you what I think we're starving for. Yes, I agree with what you're saying, first of all. And I think what we're starving for is the ability to give again. And we've always had the ability to give, but the feeling of giving nowadays, I mean, hell, if you go up and give somebody $5 nowadays, that's almost cancel culture, right?
Yeah.
What you think I'm homeless? You don't think I can support myself? You don't think I can do this? How dare you give me five, right? You can, no matter what good deed you do, it seems as though it does not go without some type of punishment, which is an old saying, right? No good deed goes without.
No good deed goes unpunished. Murphy's Law.
Right. That's right. So it's like the more you try to do good, the more the society and the whole cancel culture and special interest areas change that, right? And so we're going to change this up a little bit.
Okay.
So I took off my badge. I took off my uniform.
Sure.
Right. We are watching our country get destroyed. We are watching it be made fun of. We are watching the sacrifices that our brothers and our sisters have made with their lives be completely disrespected. And it pisses me off. I've buried way too many friends in the job that I have in my career. We have buried too many friends in the military. And to watch their sacrifice be in vain pisses me off. So I think what this country needs is for the people of this country to not base their opinion of our country on whoever the hell's in office, but who we are as a people. I don't care what color you are. Stand by me. I don't care if you're male or female, or if you don't know what the hell you are. Stand by me. Stand by the flag. Stand by the principles that this country was raised on. The principles of this country that it was founded upon. Righteousness and justice, right and wrong, equality, all of that goes into it. But it ain't the guy that's sitting in a presidential office somewhere that makes all that shit happen. It's the American people that do. So when I play a show and I ask if we have any patriots in the house, it's sad when 5 people raise a hand out of 300.
I just go back to Abraham Lincoln, a proud another Illinois, person, and a house divided against itself cannot stand. And he's right. I mean, just on the news out in San Diego, they watched a boat pull up and 20 illegal aliens get out of it, and no one says a word. No big deal. We're being invaded. And this is why I asked about the timeliness. I'm like, if we don't start taking care of ourselves, there won't be a US of A in 20 years. It just won't be the same. It's already not the same.
It's not the same now. Yeah.
Right. It's
Absolutely.
already not the same now, but it's definitely going to be not what we swore we were going to defend.
Nope. And back to your point, what do the American people need? They need to know that it's okay. It's okay to stand up for America. America isn't perfect.
No.
No country is, no nation is, and no nation of people are perfect. We will constantly go through growth. We will constantly learn from mistakes. But to try to eliminate what we stand for, which to me is God, family, and country. I don't know if you can see this or not, but
I can see it now. That's nice. I
God,
do
family,
like,
country. That those are the principles that I stand on. That does not mean that I am a perfect human being. It does not mean that I live in the perfect country or the perfect state or the perfect career. But it certainly means that I will stand by her and do whatever I can to make her great.
you served our country, and now you're doing this outreach as a musician. Do you see, are you trying to go for any other kind of goal professionally or musically at this point in your life? Or is it just spreading this message of, hey, we can, you know, embrace our feelings if they're good, if they're sad, or if even if we're angry, and that, you know what, America is worth fighting for? Is that what you want to focus on?
In terms of professional goals,
Yeah.
I would ultimately like to retire from law enforcement and be a full-time musician and travel the country doing something that is a second passion in my life, which is music and performing, right? Um, so in terms of a professional goal for music, I would love ultimately to be a labeled signed artist on tour and to have the backing of a much bigger bankroll to help push and make me succeed, right? And the knowledge and experience I have in music in terms of writing a song and performing it is one thing. The knowledge that I have in music in terms of as a business and marketing and succeeding that level is something different. And I don't have that expertise. I just don't. I'm a policeman, right? So I don't have the expertise in business like that. And so I would love professionally speaking to have that opportunity and to have somebody get behind this and get behind me and believe me or believe in me enough that they're willing to pony down and make it happen. And unfortunately nowadays, unless you have that following and that that backing, it's just very difficult to build a solid foundation. Now you can write a song and be all over TikTok and be TikTok famous, but that's really not a foundation of fans. That's not a foundation of people that believe in you, and I would rather have that. I'd rather have somebody that they don't just like the song, they like the whole package. They
Yeah.
like who I am, what I represent, the music that comes out, and they're able to buy into the whole project, right? And because they believe in it and they know that it's true and accurate and real and genuine instead of bullshit and publicity and all that other crap that goes into everybody trying to boost up their numbers. I'd just rather be real about it. Does that answer your
Wind this.
question?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of questions have been answered. This is I love this kind of stuff. Kind of wind this down though. I am curious of the whole musical process. You went into part of it, but another way I want to say this is some artists I talk to like tuning into their emotions to produce the music. That's really why they're doing it, is they're trying to deal with their emotions. Okay. And combine that with songwriting. Right? Let's just call that songwriting. Then other artists I talk to, man, they love being in the studio with a board, working on their tracks, using technology to get what they want out. Conversely, or they like being in the studio, just laying down tracks, not really for any purpose, but just making the music and then seeing what they can do with it later. Then you have the people who, Austin, love performing. They don't care about the social media follows or likes. They'll perform on a street corner in New Orleans, or they'll perform in front of 50,000. It doesn't matter. And I'm just curious, where do you fall in? Because,
All three.
all three,
All three.
you like it all.
I love the entire process from, I would say the only process that I don't like, only part of the process that I don't like is if something negative happens in life that creates the idea and concept of the song. Living through that might suck, but the ability to take that and turn it into lyrics and music in a story that somebody else can go, man, I ain't the only one.
Awesome.
It's not just me, right? There's other people. And we wrote another song called Miss America, and the title is Miss America. And so everybody thought that the song, when they saw the title, was about Miss America, and it's not. It's the fact that we miss America. We miss what this country used to be. And I don't, like I said, I'm not talking about the policies and procedures and all the other crap. I'm talking about the people of our country. When 9/11 happened, what happened in this country?
Man, we united.
Did it matter if you were Republican,
It did
Democrat,
not matter.
Independent? It didn't matter.
Let's
It did
get
not matter.
let's get New York fixed, and then let's go get these guys who did
Right.
this. And
Right.
it was sad, but it was great. And that America's gone. Like no one. I'm really worried about that.
Nowadays, people, how many friends have you lost based upon political affiliation? How many arguments do you get into with people? I'm like, it's pathetic. What we used to be able to talk about can no longer be talked about because it is literally ran over by politics. And it's to a point now where, it's not even a name anymore. You don't have a name, you have an affiliation, right? So nobody knows your name. They know that you're a Republican, right? How many people are going to get on your channel and say, "Oh, I don't know that guy's name, but he's a Republican guy and he has these podcasts and he's a conservative and blah 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 blah," right? And then you're going to have the other people fighting back at them, going, "What's wrong with being a conservative and what's wrong with being Republican?" It's pathetic.
I'll put it like this, Austin. I don't go political on OMR, but I will say this, and I'm sure you've had this happen too on your side of the aisle, where because I served in the military, Marine Corps, and I'm definitely, right of center, I don't get certain opportunities that other people do because they believe a certain way. And the proof of that is there's no ranking, there's no category on Spotify or Apple for military or veteran stuff. There isn't. So I am really at the mercy of whatever my algorithmic overlord tells me. So I miss out on a lot. And is it regretful? Yeah, sure. It's hard, but it's conversations like this that keep it going. And I've also had some liberal friends that, we can sit down and have a conversation over a cigar or after a motorcycle ride and completely disagree with each other, but remain friends and understand that we both want this nation where we can completely disagree, but neither one of us have to worry about the cops showing up to our house at 4 o'clock in the morning to take us to the gulag, which that could happen again, just like it did in Russia. So, yeah, there's concerns, but I really align with the Patriot Fest thing and the message you guys are trying to get out there. So how can people find out more about Austin Edwards, and where can they enjoy your music and follow you? Maybe we'll get that, because now I'm not a country dude, Austin. I'm full metal, but
that's okay.
You got a new fan today.
See, that's what I'm talking. Thank you.
You got a new fan today. Like
we got one more. Put them on the books.
Exactly. Like I'm going to start, repping Austin Edwards. I'm going to make sure you're in rotation on my playlist.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
No, for real, for real. How can people connect and become part of the family?
Austin Edwards Music is across the board for Instagram, social media, Facebook, all that stuff. Spotify, you can get the music on Apple Music, all the Amazon Prime stuff. You just type in Austin Edwards Music And but that helps a lot, and thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
That's my shameful plug. Now, what about you? How do people follow you when I post this?
Oscar Mike, OscarMikeRadio.com is my website. You can find me on Facebook at Oscar Mike Radio, Instagram, Oscar Mike Radio, and look for my, great hair and,
Right,
smiling
right.
face. And
How's that go again?
yeah, do you use Schick or Gillette, man?
I use Gillette.
Okay, I'm a Schick guy, and then a little turtle wax to buff it to a high shine.
You do turtle wax?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then just, a little high speed buffer that I'm just kidding.
Does that work
Cason,
out pretty well for you, or?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I use this, I'm kidding about the turtle wax, but I do use Cason Shaving Company for my
Okay.
shaving soap, and Travis Arnold, another Travis, is an Army National Guard veteran. He made this shaving soap that is bomb. I
Really?
can say that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it. I freaking love it. I mean,
You just said it's the bomb, right?
yeah.
So now they're going to cancel us. It's
Probably. I'm
cancel
probably gonna
culture,
get
right?
canceled. Yeah, it's
So
probably
let's
the
let's clarify. Let's clarify. When you said bomb, it's BALM, bomb,
Ah,
right? It's
thank
the
you.
bomb, right?
This
So
is what, folks. This is why you have the Air Force here. Only
right.
an Air Force guy could think that fast to create bomb, and it is bombing for my head, Austin. Thank
Right.
you so much.
You're welcome. Right.
Whew.
Otherwise, we're going to be all embalmed by the cancel culture, which we
Well,
don't want.
no, we don't want. Thank you for saving me from myself. So,
So Patriots Fest, though, like from what I understand, the proceeds are going to the special ops
yep.
survivors. I'm trying to remember
No,
everything.
no, I'll pull it up
Special
here.
ops survivors, the
Task Force.
Task Force Dagger, and America's Future program, right?
Yep.
So all of these people that think that this is a die-hard Republican rally, it's not. It's the American people coming together in music to celebrate the country. And in the process of doing that, to benefit specific organizations that help those in need. And so that is a beautiful thing that I'm 100% behind. I think they said 100% of the proceeds were going to that. So, or going to those. So that's amazing. Three Doors Down is going to be there. Ted Nugent.
Big and Rich, Cowboy Troy, Dimon Jones, Creed Fisher, Matt Oakley, Brandon Hart, Austin Edwards, Nate Venturelli, and the Outfits. So I was like, Don, Anna, when if this gets going next year, let me know. I'd take a ride out to Chicago and check this out, or fly to O'Hare for certain.
Yeah. Now, rumor has it that if they get enough interest, that they might look at doing a few more of these across the country, which would be pretty amazing. So the more interest that we can build in that, the better chance that where are you at right now?
I'm in the Northeast. I'm in the Boston area.
Okay. So if we can build enough interest in it, then you never know. There might be one up there in Boston, and maybe I'll get lucky enough by C2 Records to be invited back, which I would absolutely accept.
Awesome,
So,
awesome. And if it works out, I'd like to come out and check it out and meet you in person, Austin, for sure.
why don't you just fly to Chicago?
Well, it's kind of short notice, and I got some other things going on this year, but next year I'm going to be all over it.
You can run a podcast. You can run a podcast in the car. I'll pick you up at the airport. You drive on out. You could go live from Patriots Fest and do a podcast there.
I'm already thinking about 2025. 2024, I can't be in 3 places at one time. I've mastered 2, but 2025, we can make that work, and it'd be cool.
2025, it's on.
You pick me up from the airport. We're sitting there in the car, live streaming about this, like the 2 dudes in the dashboard. Yeah, we're all over it.
Maybe you could do a ride along with me. We'll do it on a night that I'm done working now, but maybe we'll do this on a night that
love it, man. I mean,
working on
because
the west side of Chicago.
I serve with Marines who, one is a Nevada State Trooper, one's Port Authority, one's Houston PD, and they've never taken me for a ride on. But leave it to the Air Force guy to take me for a ride on.
We're used to giving you guys rides.
I walked into that one. Hey, folks, this is a special, and I do mean special show. We're counting down to my number 400. By the time this airs, we'll be close. 8 years of doing this. I love getting to talk to fellow Americans, veterans who support our country after they serve. This is Patriots Fest coming up May 18th at the Plaza in Aurora, Illinois. As you heard, it's a big lineup. Going back to America's Future, Task Force Dagger, Special Ops Survivors. It's going to be massive. And Austin, it's just been really like a gamut of emotions talking with you, brothers. So I appreciate your time, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
I appreciate you, brother. And in a world that we can't talk about God anymore, I sure do every day, man. God bless you, and God bless your family.
God bless America.
God bless every single one of our brothers and sisters that serve and still believe in the people in this country. And absolutely, God bless USA. But patriotsfest.com. That's where they can find out all their information, and then get tickets from there, and check out the lineup and everything else. So hopefully there's enough interest that they can just build this thing up and it becomes a across the nation annual event in different sections of the country. And that would be an amazing thing. I would love to see that for them. C2 Records has worked so hard at putting this together. Chris Figueroa has worked just crazy hard. You know, there's so many names I don't even know if I can mention the ones that I've been so fortunate enough to deal with in this process.
Mention some names, man. I mean, we got some time here. We're good.
Well, I don't know what I'm able to mention or not. So
okay.
I'm just one of those things, just loose lips sink ships, right?
You're great.
So you're great. So I'm just grateful that they know their names. And so I'm grateful for them to get me to be a part of this and to allow that to happen. And I appreciate our time with you, buddy. God bless you.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. So, hey, as we say here at Oscar Mike Radio, we are mission in flight. Austin, all the best on the Patriots Fest and your music career. God bless.
Thank you, brother. God bless you. Keep in touch with me. You got my info.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll see you in Chicago for your ride along, pal.
2025. Take care.
Whoop. Bye.
Remember, Honor teaches our mission. We care about it and we do it every day. But I think there are things that just hit you and give you a reason to go on. The theme for our 2024 for Reach Across America is Live with Purpose. It just seemed to fit in with the vows of the REAP, the 10 attributes that we feel represent our United States military. I thought, what a great opportunity to put those two things together and show our kids through how we act some of the things that can make their lives better, their communities better, and by doing that, the country better. For me, Live with Purpose, I think, it's a mindset. Set some guidelines and then go out and purposefully make life different, make a change. It's an opportunity to set an example.
Thank you for listening and watching Oscar Mike Radio, where our active duty service members and veterans are in action and the mission is in flight. Oscar Mike Radio is an oversized load Co-Sinister One production. If you are a veteran or know a veteran who needs help, please dial 988 and press 1 for the Veterans Crisis Line.